Hello everybody and welcome to 3 Random Anime. This is a new series I've been wanting to do for a while. Basically, I find 3 random anime that I finished recently, good or bad, and I share my opinions on them in this video. Now, this isn't just going to be 3 random weeb reviews. Instead, I'm going to be showing my face, and I'm not going to be going over the background information such as studio changes or directors. This is just my straight up opinions on these 3 random anime. So the shows I'm going to be reviewing today are Wonder Egg Priority, Dr.Stone, Stone Wars, and Idol. If you only care about a singular review, you can use the timestamps to skip ahead to the review that you want to see, or you can use the chapters, the new chapter thing that YouTube recently added. I'm not entirely sure how that works yet, but if the chapter things are there, you can use them. If not, you can just skip ahead with the timestamps on the screen. So, let's get to the actual reviews. I feel like I'm never going to forget Wonder Egg Priority. It's the kind of show that's already left a mark on me, and I feel like the anime community as a whole already, and it's only in its first season. This is definitely one of the best shows of the season, and when 2021 ends, I wouldn't be surprised if I call this the anime of the year. The best way I can describe Wonder Egg Priority is unique. Everything in the show is extremely different than your typical anime. Let's just start off with listing all these positives now because I have a lot of them. The number one thing that pulled me into watching Wonder Egg Priority was the character design. I saw a picture of Ai on Twitter, and I knew once I saw that picture I had to watch Wonder Egg Priority. I love the blue and yellow color scheme. I think those two colors complement each other very well, as well as the subtle nod to her biggest insecurity, which is her blue eye. She got bullied for that blue eye, so it makes sense that she would want to cover it up. It's a nice touch. What also struck me was the voice acting. The voice acting feels very real. For example, whenever Ai screams, it feels like a real person is screaming at you, which sounds weird now that I say it out loud. You know how in anime they have those typical kind of high voice squealy anime girls? There was none of that in Wonder Egg Priority. Each character has an extremely, I've said it enough already, but unique voice. And I was surprised to find out that Ai's voice actress has made her voice acting debut this season. She's only been in 2 shows and both of them aired this season. Plus, she's a year younger than me, which is amazing to me because she did such a great job on this show. And I think every voice actor did great. And what's funny is that the cast is very young. Nehru is a little more experienced, but like not that much. This cast is young, like really young, compared to the rest of the industry. And yet, this is one of my favorite performances out of like an entire cast in this entire season. It's amazing to me how all these young voice actresses did an amazing job on this show. Next, the animation is absolutely stunning at times. Cloverworks seems to knock the ball out of the field every time they touch a show. The more and more I watch their shows, the more and more I'm beginning to love their animation. It's definitely a studio I'm going to be keeping my eye on from now on. The music is also good, by the way. I love the soundtrack, and I love the OP. It's nice and calm and peaceful, and then all of a sudden it like hits you. It hits you right in the chest with like this wave of emotions. It's hard to explain because I'm not a music reviewer. I don't know how to really put it in words, but if you listen to the OP, you'll understand what I mean. Now, time to get into the real meat and potatoes, aka the story. The first thing I should say is there are a lot of dark topics in this show. Suicide is a major player, as well as homosexuality, transgenderism, bullies, self-harm, rape, divorces, alcohol. I mean, there is a lot of dark topics in the show, and they handle each of these topics with extreme care, and I believe they handle all of these topics with better care than most animes would be able to handle with one. And when the story gets dark, it gets dark. I wasn't sure how dark a show called Wonder Egg Priority could get, but oh man. Oh, it gets dark. Like, especially towards the end of the show, it gets really dark. And that extremely depressing feeling when you get to know one of the egg people, and then at the end of the episode, they just go poof. and they're gone. And you know that the only way that character is going to be saved is if one of their friends joins the endless hell that is egg hunting. It hits you sometimes. It hits you right in the gut. Another thing, as sad as this may sound to say, there is no fan service in this show. And I think that's impressive because they could have easily had fan service. They could have had a ton of fan service in this show, considering they have an all-female cast and most of the characters are female. But they decided not to. And you know what? I respect it. I respect it because it's very rare to see an anime that has an all-female main cast and not sexualize them at all. I'm not gonna bust anyone's balls about fan service. It is refreshing to see a show once in a while that doesn't resort to that kind of tactic. This is a huge recommendation from me if you haven't seen it already. It is honestly an incredible series, and it may go down as another Madoka in the next few years. It's cute, it's emotional, it's downright brutal, it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh. I mean, you will feel a lot of emotions with this show. And what else would you want an anime to be? Dr.Stone Stone Wars was a pretty shocking experience throughout. It had a few twists and turns in it, but it was more about the story progression and the character progression that really made it shocking to me. Think of Dr.Stone Stone Wars as a transition arc. It's pretty short, it has only 11 episodes, and it's all about the war between Tsukasa and Senku. Yet in those 11 episodes, there was a lot that happens. Something I enjoyed throughout this entire season is the character progression between these two characters, and the two characters I'm talking about is Senku and Tsukasa. Tsukasa in the previous season was seen as some cruel, heartless monster, like he would go around just destroying statues. But in this season, we see a much softer side of him. And eventually, I started to feel sympathetic for this cruel, heartless monster as we begin to learn this softer side of him and his tragic backstory. And in the second half of the season, I begin to feel emotionally invested in this cruel, heartless monster. So Tsukasa has completely turned it around. He had a full-on redemption arc, which I was not expecting. Besides Tsukasa, Senku's character has also been great to me. I always loved the way Senku used his love for science as a scapegoat so he could actually help people. He would never outright say why he's helping people, he would just say that he loves science. And when his best friend is dying in front of him, instead of crying and screaming like a normal shonen protagonist would, he instead rambles about Super Mario and mushrooms as he slowly starts breaking down. This makes him more realistic since most people, especially teens, aren't going to want to show their emotions. And when sudden tragedy happens, like a close friend dying, they don't want to share their emotions and their feelings because they don't want to look weak or be a bother. Trust me, I'm a teenage boy, I've been through it before. So Senku really acts his age when he shows that he's not willing to show his emotions to his friends. He doesn't want to share the reason why he helps people. I think it's a very realistic character trait. I have no idea what Dr. Stone does in their OPs, like maybe it's the lighting or something, but they have the nicest looking shots. I don't know what they do, but it looks great every time, and Dr. Stone has some of the nicest looking OPs probably of all time. The animation though in the actual show looks mostly the same, albeit without the creative shots like in last season. For example, like the video game scene from last season, I love scenes like that. I hope to see more creative shots in season 3. Something I've always been iffy about on Dr. Stone is the character design because it's so weird. For some odd reason, the men and the women don't look the same. The men in Dr. Stone look so badass and are some of the most coolest and memorable designs in all of anime. And then you got the women, who are memorable for all the wrong reasons. All the women in Dr. Stone look like fish. They have big eyes, little mouths, and they look weird, and you can't help but laugh at them. The worst is Homura. I think Homura is a pretty fine character. She's okay, I like her, but she has the worst character design because she has the same fish-like big eyes spread out. She has thick and tiny lips, and they just go like this. Now you do get used to it. You do get used to the female character designs, or at least I did, but it's just so hard not to laugh at them. pacing can be a little bit fast at times, but it isn't like extremely fast. Tsukasa's backstory felt like it went lightning quick though, and I feel like if we had more episodes, like maybe 12 or 13, it would have really helped the backstory. I don't think we should have had 24 episodes like last season, because then it would have been way too slow. But 12 or 13 episodes, come on, it would have definitely helped the emotional impact of Tsukasa's backstory. I guess the most important part of Dr. Stone are the science parts, and while they don't spend as much time on the process of actually creating the creations like in last season, I do still enjoy seeing the creations come to life. I don't care if it's realistic or not, like I keep on getting these videos that are recommended to me that are like, is Dr. Stone's science realistic? And it's like, I don't think that's the point. I think Dr. Stone's science scenes are more meant to show off what science can do and the possibilities of science. For someone like me who's not into science, do you know how difficult it is to get someone who isn't into science into science? It's very difficult, and it can be very complicating for the person who's learning about science. Yet Dr. Stone creates a very easy way to learn about science. And while it might not be the most realistic science in the world, I do think it does its job of teaching someone like me about science pretty well, and it does show off what science can do. Like, I am amazed at some of the creations they create in this show. So while I do think Dr. Stone's Stone Wars is a step back from last season, it isn't like they took a massive step back. This isn't like a disappointing season 2, it's like they took one step down. But that's gonna happen when you have way less episodes and the season isn't focusing on what the series is actually about, and is more about the conflict that the characters have found themselves in. I'm actually excited for season 3, judging from the trailer, and I've been waiting for them to explore the Stone world more, and it looks like season 3 is finally going to be the season where they do that, and I can't wait for it. So I'm actually pretty excited for season 3. So while this is a step down, it doesn't affect my excitement for season 3 for the series at all. You may be wondering why I'm throwing in this random short anime with the likes of Dr. Stone and Wonder Egg Priority. Well, I wanted to talk about this anime somehow, and I'm not making an entire weeb review about it, and I didn't do a seasonal anime review this season, so I'm just gonna throw it in this video. Idols is one of those shows that'd be pretty forgettable to most people who watch it. In fact, I'd be surprised if there's any other YouTuber besides me making a video and talking about it. However, I am idol trash, and like all the other idol trash, I will watch anything that has the word idol in it. So I watched this entire thing. Let's talk about the few positives about this show. This show is pretty innovative in a weird way with the technology it uses. Let me explain. According to ANN, this show uses motion capture technology to capture the movements of the cast while simultaneously producing voice recordings. Now, for extremely dumb people like me, that basically means they're using the same technology that VTubers use. And with people like Way collaborating to make this project exist, which is a company known for, I'm gonna need to look at my script for this one, the Project Singularity VTuber Live Performance Project. So what I've gathered is that they're taking this idea and they're trying to make a VTuber music live festival. I don't quite understand it, and it's hard to do research with Japan-only websites because it's tough to trust translation sometimes, but that seems to be the gist of it. That's the idea I got from it. You can prove me wrong in the comments if you know more about it. So back to Idols, what this show is about, from looking at their YouTube channel and this Project Singularity thing, this show seems to be about VTuber idols. And when I made that connection, it made so much sense. Because this show feels like you're watching a bunch of VTubers trying to become idols. This anime used the technology that VTubers also use, which is still a fairly new medium. And they made this short little anime about 4 girls trying to become idols out of it. Which, that technology and that idea really intrigues me, and I'm kind of looking forward to see what this technology brings in the future. Back to the actual show now. The voice acting is solid. The actual idols are actually voicing their characters in the show, so it's kind of like what 22/7 did. Not much I can really say about the voice acting though, it just feels like VTubers. I did enjoy the songs. The songs are entertaining and fun, they're colorful. They're not Bandori levels good, like they're not on Bang Dreams level. However, they're fun, you know, basic idol stuff. And the show is pretty funny, like a goofy kind of funny. Some people might not like the goofy kind of funny, but for me, that is my type of humor. Maybe I just have a dumb sense of humor, but I found this show freaking hilarious. Like, some of these jokes were actually pretty funny to me, which I wasn't expecting. And that's as far as the positives go. Time for the negative. The animation. Yeah, I know it's not supposed to be an actual anime, it's a VTuber thing. But I can't ignore the poor animation and character design. Sometimes their hair would just clip through their own bodies and it just looks glitchy. The hair looks particularly really bad. And again, that happens with VTubers too. Like, I noticed that when I'm watching Keys on the Eye videos. Problem is, there's a major difference between a YouTube video and an anime. It's not X-Arm levels bad, like X-Arm was just straight up incompetent, and don't worry, I will get to X-Arm in a later video. But I can't just ignore the poor CGI in this. Finally, the story is pretty basic. It's 4 girls trying to become idols, very basic idol stuff here. Overall, idols could be an idea that might lead to big things when technology advances or when VTubers grow as a media. I'll leave the YouTube channel and the Project Singularity stuff if you're interested in the description, so that way you can do your own research if you want. You can correct me, maybe you actually speak Japanese and you could help me out with that. But for now, it's just a short anime that uses the same technology as a Korone stream. And that's it for 3 random animes. I hope you guys enjoyed the new series. I'm trying to diversify my content a little bit more, and this will hopefully help me post a little bit more, because weeb reviews take a long time to make, and I don't want to be just known as the weeb review guy. I want to do more things. These videos should hopefully take less time to edit, so I'll be able to consistently post these more often. But yeah, that's it. I'm Kikaya, and goodbye.